If you want to get out from, like, if you want to break through, if you want to go from this level to that level, you can't be like, okay, I'm just gonna dip my toes in the water. I'm just gonna try it. I'm just gonna see it. I'm just gonna play around. I'm just gonna do. That's typical. That's average, man.
What's the journey, man? What's the journey? How can you replicate it? How can you apply some of those principles and ideas?
The number one thing that I can sincerely say that absolutely changed everything, I worked on myself first, period.
So here's the formula. Learn something new, and then do it and implement it.
Against all odds, right? Against, everything, they persevered.
I didn't have to be that smart guy that's gonna go out and create all this tech stuff.
I had found all of these other hidden loopholes within the eBay system, like alternative ways to make money on eBay.
And they did it in this industry. They did it in online marketing. Hey everybody, how are you? Welcome back. Welcome to episode number 6, The Journey. Great to be back with you. I am excited. We have a very special guest with us today. How's everybody doing today? You guys doing great? Hello, hello. Hey everybody. People saying, hey family. Okay, great to be back with you guys. I am fired up with every episode. Every Thursday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time, we get together for another new episode of The Journey. Now, what is the journey? Well, the journey is, as you just heard, right, is to bring you one idea, one nugget, one seed, one something that can move you forward, right, in your business. And so today I have a power couple, as we're going to refer to them, right? I'm going to introduce them to you in just a minute here. Again, if you're just tuning in, if you're brand new to this show, if you have never watched this show before, my name is Vic Strazius. I'm the founder of the 4% Group, where we help average people rise above average and get extraordinary results. Very, very excited, very privileged to be able to serve this community, to be able to serve you, and hopefully from today's interview, you will have a lot of nuggets that you can implement in your business, take your business a notch higher. Okay, you guys are pumped? So look, we're gonna get straight into it. I'm very, very excited to talk to our couple today. Let me bring them on over here. This is Mr. Miles and Sonia Segers. How are you guys? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we just unmuted ourselves, brother. We're good.
Awesome. Well, Miles and Sonia, welcome to the show, you guys. Before we get into this, I want to pre-frame this episode a little bit here. What's going to happen here? What we're going to talk about. I am personally looking forward to these episodes. I'm personally looking forward to these journeys because for several reasons. Number one is I get to be the guy who gets to try to dissect and uncover like what's going on under the hood, right? if metaphorically speaking, like how do you make something work, right? How do you go from near bankruptcy, crazy story, crazy personal story, personal life and business, no experience, and against all odds, man, you succeed, right? So I get to uncover those. And I love it myself. That inspires me. That moves me forward. In my business as a person. That's very cool. And so you guys are somebody who literally went from the beginning. Totally new to the industry, totally new to online marketing. And just recently, last week or so, you had, I don't know if it was your biggest or not, over $120,000 commissions deposit go into your bank account in one day. How did that feel?
I'll tell you, Vic, it felt kind of surreal, yeah. But at the same time, I really believe, so does Sonia, we believe it wouldn't have happened if we didn't have that picture in our mind. We really, from the beginning, had that picture in our mind of having a big deposit like that put into our account. But it felt good. Felt good.
Just summarize it. Felt good, right?
Yeah, felt good.
All right. So look, you guys. You're going to be hearing from on this interview. Here's what I want to do. Okay, I want to dig deep into Miles and Sonia, into your guys' story. Okay, you've been on the, you watched the show before. You kind of know how we do it here. We're being totally raw, totally uncut. No scripts, no questions in advance. You have no idea where this conversation is going to go. You know what? I have no idea where this conversation is going to go because we just go with the flow. And we try to look. There is something about being raw. In doing this kind of stuff, because I can, we'll just keep it natural, right? And the whole outcome, okay, of this interview is, you guys, I want to know how you did it. Okay, bottom line is I want to know how you did it, in hopes that somebody watching this, right? If you're watching this, if you somehow came across, obviously we're doing this live. You know, we have a lot of people from the 4% group. Okay, great to be back with you guys, watching us live audience. But this is also being recorded, and this is going to be seen by a lot of people. Okay, and my goal, my outcome here is to, first of all, inspire somebody who wants to make it in this industry, right? Maybe they're running into brick wall after brick wall. How did you guys persevere? How did you break through? What are the lessons? You know, what happened to you in your business? How did you go from step one, step two, your first commissions, to all the way up to, you know, generating and getting a deposit of $122,000 in one day? That's like a house, man. Over here in the Midwest where I'm at, that's like you can buy a house for 120K. You know, you had that being deposited. So we're going to talk a lot about this. I want to get into the marketing. I want to get into the promotional side of things, team building, you know, serving, how you do this. And so that's a snapshot. If you guys are watching this, take a lot of notes, and we're going to dive straight into it. So Miles and Sonia, again, first of all, thank you for coming on, you guys, on the show. I appreciate your time. I know you have to go salsa dancing right after this, so we'll try to keep things as...
You don't have to, brother. It's just that we haven't been salsa dancing in about 3 weeks. Been focused on our business, and when it goes a long time without me going, I start getting a little antsy. So
he gets his withdrawals here. So.
Well, brother, you don't want to get rusty, man. That's one thing you don't. You know, you want to make sure you keep that flowing. You know, so we're gonna go fast, but we don't want to go too fast so that some of these ideas, guys, I know some of the stuff we're going to be talking about tonight, they're going to be very, very deep ideas, very, very deep strategies that I want to uncover from you. So first of all, give me a snapshot. What's your life like right now? Okay, tell me what's happening in your business currently today.
Well, I'll tell you. I'm going to have Sonia do a lot of the talking, which she doesn't want to, but I'm going to have her. But anyway, you know, right now, Vic, what's happening in our business is what I always wanted to happen. In other words, you know, being an online marketer, what do? You know, we market and sell products online, okay? But being able to work with a lot of people and you know, you get to the point where, you know, you're my mentor. Everybody knows that. You know, I follow everything you do and have done. That's why I'm here. But to get to the point in my business where people are contacting me on Facebook, on Skype, saying, "Hey, Miles, can I join your team? I like what you're doing. You know, I like your personality." That's what's happening in our business right now, because as I was, you know, me and my wife were talking about this earlier, kind of blows my mind a little bit because we really haven't started driving traffic yet, to our business. We actually just started, but have not been driving it up to this point. So what's really amazing, and I know you're going to drill down into this, you know, what we've been able to do in tech academics and all has really happened organically. And it still blows my mind, but I know how we did it, so.
So this is where I want to spend quite a bit of time together tonight. Is talking about, you said we haven't started advertising, we haven't started running traffic, haven't started doing marketing, actual marketing yet. So how did you do it? We'll come back to it. Take me back to the beginning. How long you guys been online so far?
As of today, okay,
right.
We've been online for a little over 3.5 years, like 3 years and 9 months or so as of today. So we started back in January of 2013, Swear? Yeah, January 2013.
December 2012.
Well, I officially started in January. So, yeah.
Okay, so okay. Why internet marketing? How did you come across? Take me back and just kind of share you guys' story. I know a lot of people are going to be watching this have no idea who Miles and Sonia Segers are. So give us a snapshot. How did you guys got introduced to this industry? What happened?
Yeah, I'll start talking, brother. But if I go on too much, you'll just have to cut me because.
Trust me, I will if you do.
Okay. So, I grew up in a blue collar family. I got 2 other brothers, and I'm the only one out of the brothers that went to college. Actually went to college. That was my parents' dream to send me to college. I wanted to go, the all-American thing. You go to college, get a good job, go to corporate America, advance through the ranks, all that. So I did all that. And I went to a very, very good school. My parents spent a lot of money on this school. So I figured when I graduated, I could go anywhere and get a job. And pretty much that did happen, Vic. But what I noticed happening is the jobs would last for like maybe every 2 or 3 years. And, It wasn't because of me, because I asked my boss, I'm like, what's going on? And what would happen is companies were shipping jobs overseas to different places. I'm sure a lot of people listening have been through that. So I was moving from company to company like every 3 or 4 years. I'm saying to myself, wait a minute, is this how it's supposed to be? I'm college educated. I've spent all this time, and my parents spent all this money. So I started thinking, well, I'm tired of this moving around. Maybe I should do something for myself. And I always had thought about real estate. Mm-hmm. So I went into in fact, the last job that got shipped overseas, I said, you know what? I'm not looking for another job. I'm done. And this was back in, I think, 2005.
May 2000. No, we were married then.
Anyway, it was early 2000. Mm-hmm. So I went into real estate. Mm-hmm. I became a real estate investor. Actually got my real estate license. So I am a licensed agent, although it's not active. And so we were in the real estate business. Like, I know a lot of people out there listening, I know they've dabbled in real estate, or maybe they're a real estate investor right now. And we did really well. We came out of the gates pretty hot, Vic, and the industry was pretty hot. But when the market crashed, I seen people failing in the real estate industry because the market had crashed. But I said to myself, I'm not going to let it affect me. I'm going to keep doing what I'm doing. But sure enough, it got to us too. And our business just went down the tubes. It went down the tubes. So at that point, I can dig more into the story. I don't know how much you want to know, but I mean, it had gotten so bad at one point, Vic, that, again, we were doing very well in real estate. We had accumulated a lot of rental properties, right? So you were those properties. Okay, so what happened is we got to the point where a lot of our rentals went vacant. The bills needed to be paid. We had mortgages on those properties.
Right.
So what I was doing, and my wife really didn't know. Okay, I kept some things from her, which, I regret to this day. I would never do again. But I was actually paying our rental property mortgages because they were empty, and I wasn't paying my own mortgage. Okay, at our house here. So we were facing bankruptcy. My car was getting ready to be possessed, and the business just really went down the tubes. So my wife, came to me and gave me an ultimatum because she wasn't sleeping. She wasn't sleeping. Our relationship was really under stress, And she said, sweetheart, listen, you're going to have to find a job. Either you find a job or, I don't know what's going to happen to us. And when she mentioned job to me, because I just said I would never go back to a job. I mean, nothing against people that have jobs, but it just wasn't for me. I always wanted to be an entrepreneur. And when she told me that, there was this shiver that just went through my body, and I'm like, I just can't do that. So real quick, this is how we got into internet marketing. When I was in real estate, a very good friend of mine, I won't mention his name, maybe he doesn't want me to, but a very good friend of mine, he was dabbling in internet marketing. And I knew he was. So I remember coming to him and I said, hey, listen, man, how's that internet marketing thing you're doing on the side? He said, Miles, it's going really well. As a matter of fact, it's taken all of my time. So I always had it in the back of my mind is like, we talk about not having one of these, but the internet marketing at that time was my plan B. I guess you could call it. It was in the back of my mind. If this real estate thing just doesn't come back, I'm going to look into internet marketing. But again, I had no idea where to begin, like who to talk to. So I asked him. I said, and I'll tell you, his name is Chris, his first name. So I said, hey, Chris, who do you recommend that's in internet marketing that I can learn from? Who's really good? And he mentioned, a guru out there. You probably know who he is. And he mentioned that person's name. I looked that person up. I got on his email list. All right. Sure enough, I got on his list. He started sending me things. And one of the things he sent me was a weekend training at his house. He has a personal training facility at his house. And that program actually cost me $5,000, which, what was going on at the time with the house getting ready to go in the foreclosure. I kind of had that money put away, and I spent it. I signed up for it. But another mistake I did.
So hold on. So okay. So $5,000. You've never done online marketing. You just heard about it. Somebody told you, and here you are, pretty much broke. And you're spending and you're investing $5,000. Dude, what's going on in your mind at this time?
Well, I'll say this, Vic. He was, or he is. He's a very good marketer. It's very convincing, and he, he said that it would be personal training at his house.
Right.
He said that there would be actually 12 months of follow-up afterwards. But the thing is, we only met once a month, okay? And when we did meet, it just wasn't exactly what I was looking for. So anyway, I did that. I made that payment, and then I came to my wife after I made the payment and told her about it. I should have told her first, but I told her. And again, I was very desperate at that point, Vic, and maybe I wasn't thinking clearly, but my real estate buddy pointed me in this direction with this guy, and
Right.
I just felt it was the right thing to do at the time. But
Okay. So you get introduced online. What happens next? Was that like creating your own products? Was that what kind of niche? What exactly were you guys looking to do that first go round?
Well, I mean, I didn't know what I was looking to do, really. I just knew that you could market and sell products online. I really didn't care what it was, okay? But this particular product, when I went to his house and got trained, what we were selling was membership sites. It was a product that he had created on how to build a membership site. And it was pretty high ticket. That's another thing, being brand new, I'm trying to sell this product. I think it was $3,000. For the product, and I'm trying to sell this thing, and I just wasn't having any results. I mean, we could not get anybody to buy that thing, and it just was frustrating, very frustrating.
Okay, so all right. So how long is this process going on for? Yeah, I'm trying to I'm putting myself in the position of somebody who is like, okay, I'm looking at you right now, right? So I want to know your breakthroughs, man, right? So how long is this process going on for? So you invested $5,000, you tried to sell these membership sites, $3,000 a pop, they don't really go well. What are you thinking? How long do you stick into it before you, decide to move on, or what happened next?
Okay, well, here's the thing. I never actually gave up on it. This is what happened. I was fumbling around with this product for about 6 or 7 months or so. Mm-hmm. And I remember very clearly in November of 2012, I remember asking him during our monthly session, because that was for 12 months. I said, listen, I cannot seem to make any sales. What am I doing wrong? He said, Miles, what it is it's not how much money you're spending on traffic. It's that the traffic that you're getting, that you're driving to your site, it needs to be targeted. And I didn't even really know what he meant by targeted at the time. So I said, I'm not going to mention his name. I said, so, okay, how do I drive targeted traffic? And he says, well, you need to target certain niches, blah, blah, blah. I just didn't get it. Mm-hmm. So I'm the type of person where, and I feel good about this, I'm very resourceful. I will dig, whether it's going to Google or wherever, and get the answer. So I started Googling. I think it was right after Thanksgiving, November 2012. I started Googling traffic generation. And long story short, I found a blog. I'm trying to remember the guy's name, but I found a blog. I went to that blog. He was talking about traffic generation. However, there, on blogs on the right-hand side, there's these advertisements. Right. There's an opt-in box. There was an opt-in box about getting 364 something visitors to your site. So I opted into that, and the landing page comes up, and this guy starts talking. And it takes me to video number 1. So I'm sitting right in this room right now. It was a Sunday afternoon. It's cold outside. I can remember like it was yesterday. I'm sitting at my desk, and I'm listening to this guy, and I'm thinking it's going to be like a 5-minute video, but it goes to 30 minutes, 40 minutes, and he's still talking. And I'm like mesmerized. And he's talking about what I was looking for. So that was video number 1. Well, at that point, I was on his list. And he said, well, within a day or two, you're going to get video number 2. Man, I'll tell you, I mean, listen, Vic, I remember going downstairs and telling my wife, I said, sweetheart, look at this guy. I found this guy, and he's talking about, what I was looking for. And I think most people out there listening to me that know you, they know. The guy was you. And the product, it was High Traffic Academy. Mm-hmm. So there's just 4 parts of High Traffic Academy. I'm telling you, I was like a kid in a candy store waiting for all 4 of those videos. So that's pretty much how I got started. But what really got me hooked, okay? So as I was watching those videos, I watched them over and over again. All right, I watched video number 2, 3, 4. When I got to video number 4, and Vic, you know what? I got a notebook here from 2012 with notes where I studied those free videos. So what I did is I said, well, what do I got to lose? I took what you had taught in those videos and I applied it to that membership site. And by the way, Vic, that membership site product, it was very niche oriented, which is another reason why it was difficult to sell. But I took what I learned from the free stuff, didn't spend a dime. And you know what? The following week, I got my first 3 sales. And I think the commission on those were, I think it was $1,000 commission on each product. So at that point, I was hooked on internet marketing. Okay. And, you know, brother, I was hooked on you. So.
So this is end of 2012.
Yeah.
We're talking.
Yeah.
Okay, so selling same product. So naturally, my question comes up to you, and what I want to know is what specifically did How did you get that first sale? Did you change your marketing approach? Did you just started to get different type of traffic? You know, if you don't mind sharing those little details, what made it? What was that breakthrough for you?
Yeah, sure. I put a strategy into my business, a strategy back then that I'm still using right now. It's kind of controversial, but we'll get into that. So what I did back then, because you had mentioned something about, you had called it OPL,
right?
Using other people's lists,
right?
And like that was so foreign to me. It was like, wait a minute, is somebody gonna let me? Why would somebody let me use their list? I didn't know there were brokers or nothing like that. So I found a solo ad vendor who was very good, who I still work with to this day, and I ran some traffic. I ran some traffic. I built a little list because I didn't have a list at that point. And you know, again, like a lot of newer people, I didn't really know what I was doing, but I just started talking to these people. And one thing I did tell him, I said, listen, I explained to him what the product was. I told him it was a hard sell. I explained to the vendor, and I said, you know, is your list going to, you know, match this? You think this will work? And he's like, yeah, Miles, it will. And really, that's how I got my first 3 sales. I didn't actually generate the traffic myself. I tapped into somebody else's list.
Got it. Cool. We'll get into that a little bit later as well. So at this time, do you drive them to your landing page, or do you just straight out send them to the sales page of the product that you're promoting?
I was driving to the landing page. It was a generic landing page that, you know, that the company he had set up for us. Okay. At that time, I didn't know nothing about custom landing pages and wrappers, so I just sent traffic right to the landing page. So.
Okay, awesome. So you get hooked on this. You know, you got this. You know, your first result, your first 3 sales made, you know, $3,000 selling that particular product. What happened next? What was your big aha? Well, before we go there, Miles, let's address this one. From this first breakthrough experience, right? What is the big lesson that you've learned that, in your opinion, was like, this is okay, I've got this, or was there a lesson for you, or are you still like fuzzy and didn't know what happened? You know, and how you generate those, because you knew it this time.
I know what happened. I know exactly what happened is, and I feel very blessed because it happened quickly in my career. I found a mentor who not only knew what the heck he was talking about, but I resonated with. Vic, I'm telling you, now, sometimes I feel funny saying this because, you know, you and I talk, and I don't want to sound like I'm trying to like pump you up. I mean, whatever. People know that, you know, you and I are good friends, but man, I mean, you just mesmerized me on those videos. And I remember saying to myself, I said, listen, man, I said, how does that guy do that? Like, how does he talk for like an hour? I said, I'd like to be able to do that. So I always kept it in my mind that, you know, videos are powerful, and it's not just the information, because Vic, to be honest, to be fair, this guy, this guru, I'm not going to mention his name. You know who he is. I know you know him, but he knows his stuff. He's very good. In fact, he's taught a lot of other gurus, you know, online marketing.
Right.
But what it is, I feel, what it is that he's not good at delivering the information. You know, it's one thing to know it. It's another thing to be able to deliver it where people understand. And you, brother, you just have that ability, because, you know, I was just mesmerized looking at those 4 videos. So I said to myself, I started following you at that point. And I said to myself, I said, you know, he's my mentor. I'm gonna follow this guy. He's our mentor, Vic Streisers.
Got it. Well, appreciate that, Miles. Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so you've got you got these sales. Do you continue? What was the next? Because I honestly I don't really know how you progressed to get to where you are today. Because I know today you're like you're doing different things and you're pretty much crushing it with anything that you're doing. So I want to get into that topic. How did you guys develop or get to that point specifically? So take me from that point and what was the next thing for you? What was the next big breakthrough?
Yeah, the next big breakthrough. So we became members of iTraffic Academy. Okay, at that point, I stopped promoting that membership site. I didn't think it was really necessary. So I was following you, and I remember you having a webinar. People that were part of iTraffic Academy, and you said that you were starting this movement. Okay, and the movement was called Big Idea Mastermind. So you talked about that you had a product that we were going to be promoting. I think most people don't know what that product is, but that company that you recommended, I had never heard of them at all. I didn't know nothing about network marketing at all. I never did it before. But again, you didn't know it, but you were my mentor. So what you recommended, I did. You recommended that we become members of that. I did. You recommended that we become part of Big Idea Mastermind. I did. But here's one little thing just to circle back. That $3,000 I made, I needed that like I needed air, like I needed water. So that went to pay bills that were piling up on my desk. So we were still broke. So this company, you recommended, and again, I really valued your advice. You recommended that we purchase all the products, we go all in. I didn't have the money. So what I did is I went to my anchor, which is my beautiful wife. I actually borrowed from my wife. I borrowed because I didn't want to ask her for all of it. Just kind of a man thing. I didn't want to ask her for all of it, so I borrowed half from her. And then I borrowed the other half from some loan sharks on the internet. those really high, whatever, those loans on the. So anyway, I gathered the money together, and I went all in, and I started promoting. Not really promoting that company. I was promoting Big Idea Mastermind.
So the funnel, which by the way, you guys, Big Idea, that system it was a marketing system at that time for one of the companies that we promoted. Don't have to, like, if you're watching this and you're like, okay, what is it? Don't worry about it because that no longer exists. The whole concept is that we had a system at that time, that Miles, that you plugged into, that promoted a product and the company, which is direct sales company, actually network marketing company that was. Okay, great. So Sonia, I got a question for you. How do you, okay, so this happens, okay?
Yeah.
Like, how do you take all this? What's your reaction? What's your take on the whole unfolding of events here?
I had no clue what he was doing, and eventually he sat down and he explained it to me, and I still didn't understand it. And I remember really clearly the day that he came over, and I'm sleeping. Well, couldn't sleep because of the issues that we had. And he comes over and he's like, "Do you have $3,000 or $2,000?" And I'm like, "You kidding me?" So, but yet I was seeing results in him. He was determined. I remember when he found those videos online, your instruction and everything that you were providing. And I remember, like, late at night, him listening to these videos constantly, and he was like over and over and over again. So because of that, I saw that he was determined. He really was putting the time into it, and I really had to believe, and I did believe in him and his potential. So I kind of like followed and I supported what he did. I stayed, I believed so much in him, and he sold me basically. He quickly learned from these videos. I guess it was from you or something, but he sold me. So therefore, I just kind of like, okay, this is producing results, and that's fine.
Yeah.
So I will support you, and I will be there for you, and that's what I've done.
So okay, so you guys are watching this, okay? Your husband, wives out there, couples, right? Here is the thing. What you guys are sharing here is powerful stuff that can go over a lot of people's heads, okay? I can tell you from my story, very, very similar situation. We did not have the money. I had to go into tremendous debt to get into this online marketing space, had no clue One thing, and my wife was like, I mean, you know how women are, Miles. I mean, you guys watching this, if you have a spouse, right? And if that spouse, if it's like most spouses, right? They're usually pretty skeptical, right? Pretty like, we guys, we tend to take more risks, I guess, than women can, or than most women do, at least. But my wife was like, I don't know, there's no job. I mean, women like security, man. I mean, women like, comfort, right? You guys, you ladies like to be like protected. You want to make sure that come Friday, there's going to be a paycheck. You'll have food on the table. Us guys, I mean, most of the guys, at least the ones that I know, and I can speak for myself, certainly, we tend to be a little bit crazier in that area to where we can take a leap of faith and we can take a step and not knowing or jump off the plane and not knowing if the parachute is going to open or not, right? But for me, my wife saw just like ridiculous, like unreal, unhuman determination to where I did not count the hours, man. I would like, if I needed to pull an all-nighter just because I needed to get through a training or whatever, or if I'm like, I did not look at myself. I did not have mercy on myself. Some people say it might not be healthy for you. Who cares, man? I got this situation I need to fix, and I gotta fix it because I'm the man of the household, and I wanna make it work, right? So this is what I'm kind of sensing from you guys, right? And so what's the big takeaway here? Well, the big takeaway, if you guys are watching this, you guys, you're couples, right? Look, how bad do you want it? And so what sounds like to me, Miles, is you had your back against the wall and you did not want to go to the job. Is that about right?
Very, very much so.
Yeah.
And also, Vic, just maybe you could say it's material, but like this house that we live in, I love. I found this house before I met my wife. She actually still has a house in another area that we rent. And she's like, sweetheart, we can move to that house. And it's a smaller house and nothing bad about that. But I mean, I just worked so hard to get this house that I love.
Yeah.
So all of those motivators, and also I knew my wife she loved me to death, but she was starting, and she'll admit it, that she was starting to lose faith in me, and I could see it in her eyes, Vic. And I said, you know what, I'm going to prove to her that I can get us out of this, and we will never look back.
So you sold her based on your actions. You didn't necessarily. Is that right, Sonia? Is that, or am I off here?
Yeah, that's what it was. Everything that he did, he was just so focused on doing this and making sure that he made some money and understanding it and applying everything that he learned. And that it was like, I have to support him. I have to believe in him, because if not this, then what? What else is there? So if you don't, I had to give it a chance. You have to kind of like, okay, it's working. We're not there yet, but we have to give it a chance to make it successful, and that's what it did for us.
Got it. So okay, so you guys at this time, you got into the, you got on board with that system at that time that we were promoting. So you're having a little bit of success, or what's the situation now? Here's my question: do you have a list at this time, or you don't have a list? Do you talk to your list? Walk me through that area of your business.
Yeah, I was starting to build. I had a small list, starting to build a list at that time, because what I did, I kept tapping into other people's lists.
Right.
So again, this doesn't always happen, but well, let me take it back. I became a student, really, of the product, everything I became a student of this business, and listening to you, just pulling nuggets from what you were saying, even way back then,
right,
about building yourself. And something that really got to me and stuck with me to this day is about the community thing, building relationships and like making people part of something. So I remember talking to my list, and I've gotten pretty good at copywriting now, but back then I didn't know nothing about copyright. So what I did is, and I think this kind of worked, I just talked to my list. I mean, I was actually I would say like, hey, how's your day going? How was work today? Just emails that most people probably, don't write.
So were these emails you were writing like you're talking, literally?
Yeah, I was writing like I was talking. And the reason why I need to point that out is because when I joined that company that you recommended, right, within 2.5 weeks, we had made our first 3 sales, 3 more sales. And these sales for this particular company, the company at the time was paying 100% commission. And remember, we were all in. So these were 3 all-in sales. Vic, 2.5 weeks after we got started back in January 2013, we had earned $15,000. Those 3 sales paid $3K for each sale.
$15,000.
$15,000, 2.5 weeks. I got more hooked.
You got more hooked. I would imagine. Okay. So walk me through. How do you justify? Okay, and maybe Sonia, you can help me with this as well. How do you justify? You said you got all in, so you purchased all the products. A guy who's struggling to pay the mortgages and you're in financial hole at this time, right? How do you justify paying and purchasing all the products? Why not just like, okay, I'm just gonna get this product right here and I'm gonna work my way up? What's the mindset there? This is what I'm trying to uncover. Like what? Because most people will take the logical approach, right? Most people will be like, okay, I'm just gonna see if it's gonna work, okay? And that's what most people do. Yeah, I'm just gonna see if it's going to work. I'm gonna see if I can prove it to myself. I'm gonna go a little bit here, and then if it works, I might go a little bit deeper and then a little bit deeper. You took the polar opposite approach, which is, hey, I'm just gonna jump with both feet in. What's the mindset? What pushed you to do that, and why? How did you justify that?
Well, I mean, I know how I would justify it right now, to be honest with you. But back then, what I know now, I didn't really know back then. So I guess it just kind of it just made sense to me, Vic, to own all of those products. Another thing, okay, here's the thing. I'm trying to think back to 2013 where my mind was.
Right.
But the type of guy I am, I'm a very detailed guy. I like to know things. I like to know how things work. I don't want to just know part of it. I want to know it all. Because I said, you know what, this is what I'm going to do. This is going to be my career. I'm selling these products, okay? I need to know what's in them. I need to go through them, okay? I need to go through those videos, which my wife can tell you, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I was in here listening to videos. So that's just the way I was thinking back then. I needed to know what these products were. But here's the other thing. I can remember my first sale, because I remember I told you I got 3 of those all-in sales. And that first one wasn't that easy. I was talking to the guy on the phone, okay? I know who he is, of course. It was my very first big sale. And he was grilling me. He was asking me a lot of questions about the product. And I'm fairly new, and I think I did pretty good because I'm talking to him kind of intelligently because I knew what was in those levels. And I remember saying to myself, man, I was on the phone with such and such. If I didn't own those products or I didn't know what was in them, I would have been stumped. I mean, he would have been like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. But it gave me the confidence to sell them because I knew what was in them. I knew what they did. And also, I could also, Vic, talk about how the product would benefit him, and I think that's powerful because, again, I mean, he wanted to make money just like I did. He didn't really care about the products. He wanted to make money, so I could talk to him about the benefits of, well, listen, if you go all in, then you'll be able to do X or Y. So that really helped.
Makes sense. Okay, awesome. So moving forward from there. Okay, so what do you guys do there? So you promote the system. You kind of moved on from that other membership site that you had. Yeah. You're running with us. What are we talking? We're talking 2013 now.
Yes.
Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so did you say your first month? I'm sorry, I missed that. Is that first month or first 2 weeks you made your first 15,000?
I actually got started with that company and it was like January 2nd, January 3rd, and our first 2.5 weeks.
Okay, 2.5 weeks and with 3 sales, so it's a big ticket. So the big takeaway there is, if you're not promoting, you're watching this, if you're not promoting big ticket offers, right? If you're not part of big ticket offers, you might be missing out. Because big ticket offers is big. I know I got started, the commissions I was earning was about $1,000 with the, I mean, it doesn't take a lot, but you want to have, most of them. So moving forward, okay, how do you guys progress? What's your next 90 days in that particular business looking like? What are you guys focusing on? What's your activities? What's your mindset like? Where are you at? How do you grow it?
Yeah. At that point, again, like I said, we started out, tapping into other people's lists. So at that point, I started to broaden myself a little bit and I started dabbling into other traffic strategies.
Okay.
One of the first things that I did try back then was Facebook ads. Had some success with that. I started dabbling into YouTube because I started finding out that I knew I had to be in front of people, and I'm saying that because that's what you had taught me back then. So I started trying to get out there more. I started shooting videos, popping them on YouTube. So between YouTube, doing a little bit of banner ads, and also the Facebook PPC, that's really what I started focusing on.
So you're promoting just a system, or do you promote your own stuff? I mean, did you step out, or did you use a system solely that we created, and you just ran that? What did you promote exactly?
Yeah, definitely. We I would say for the next 2 years or so, we focused exclusively on that system that you created, Vic. We were promoting that. Okay. Yeah.
So you're building your list. That obviously allowed you to build your list. By the way, as you guys are watching this, you guys in 4%ers here, you're watching this live. We have a lot of people, over 400 people live watching us right now. So you guys are in the 4%. The system we had back then is nothing. Miles, maybe you can talk about it. It's nothing compared to what we've got now here. For all of you guys in the 4% group here. Speaking of systems, Miles, talk about, because now you can compare. Obviously, you guys are members of the 4% here. You have a contrast what was available then, which is what's available now. The kind of opportunities that's available. You spend about 30 seconds talking about that real quick.
Oh yeah, I was talking to my wife about this earlier. I was talking to one of our team members too. And if I were to make a comparison, Vic, I mean, there really is no comparison, because I saw some of the things you did with, some of your other products in the past. And, having just one part of this system, the 4%, having those multiple streams of income and being able to build, specific funnels on different products, I don't think I know, which I'm really excited about. One of the main things is that this 4% group, this system, you didn't create it just for one particular company. Like if something happens to that company, which happened to the company that I was with, the system kind of goes with it.
Right.
So I'm excited about this because I know how you've designed this. And I know that we're going to be around for a long, long time because, we can just, bring in more companies. We can just take companies out, but it doesn't affect the 4% system. So, me as an online marketer, I plan on doing this for the rest of my life. I'm really excited about that. Very excited.
So you guys are watching this, I'm talking to the 4% group members right now watching us live. You guys, especially if you're new, like what we had back then compared to what we have now is literally, it's not even comparable. It's like 10x, at least 10x more powerful. So let's move forward, brother. Oh yeah, Sonia, go ahead.
No, what I was going to say is also what I've noticed, and because back then I was not involved that much, but now that I am and I understand things better and see them, what I've noticed also, because I was actually looking through the system when he showed it to me, I kind of logged in and everything back then. But now it's seeing the ease. It's easy to me. It looks easier to follow.
The navigation and all.
Yeah,
it feels good too. It's got a good look and feel to it.
Yeah.
Very slick.
Yeah, and I'm seeing people who are able to understand it more. The success I'm seeing more. I mean, I'm seeing in the Facebook group how people are coming out. So I got my first sale, and back then people struggled, and I see that right now so quickly. People are actually succeeding against it. And that's the main thing for me, to be able to see different people be able to make it online.
Simpler, a lot simpler, yeah. All right, brother, so walk me through, you're running traffic, you're sending traffic to that system that we had at that time. You're building your list, you're talking to your list. What do you talk to your list about? Because you're still learning, trying to understand this business. You see your first successes. What the heck are you talking about to them?
Well, I'll tell you, Vic, again, so we had this system back then, but the company that we were promoting, it did talk, the company, they talked about lifestyle a lot. They talked about freedom. They had weekly, I think it was every Monday, they had this audio thing that I never missed. That's another thing. I never ever. I mean, I don't care what I was doing. I never missed a meeting.
Yeah.
I never missed a call. So I was taking all that stuff in, and I was listening to people that were earning 6 and 7 figures online. So what I was learning from them and just listening to, I just shared that with my list. I mean, I back then I really wasn't. I never talked about the products that much. Those products. I was just talking about lifestyle, and what it can do for you. And one of the big things I did is I started doing something back then. I remember having one person on my very first one. I started doing these things called Google Hangouts way back in 2013. And what I would do is I would invite my list, to the Google Hangout I was doing. And although nobody would show up in the beginning, I kept doing it. I kept doing it. And sure enough, I remember having like maybe 5 people would pop on. The following week, maybe I'd have 7 or 8, and it just kept building. So what made it really, I think what made it really powerful was, here they are getting these emails from this guy by the name of Miles. Now they're having a chance to see this guy, like my personality, like how I sound, how I look.
Right.
Or I like him, or I don't like him. They can make a judgment. Which I think is also good, because that can help you keep your list clean. Okay, because if they don't like you, well, they'll unsubscribe.
Right.
People that want to be there will be there, and I've been doing it ever since.
So you're doing Google Hangouts. You've got 5 people showing up. How do you keep the excitement going? Because a lot of people would be like, dude, I got 5 people showed up. This is not working for me, man. I'm out. What kept you going, man?
I can answer that very easily, and I don't know if this will work for everybody. I believe it will. What I'm going to say, okay, even though I know there were only a few people there, like I'm talking to you right now, and like you could stop me in the street. I could go to the mall and talk to people about what I do. I love what I do. I mean, I was very passionate back then about the system. I was also passionate about the products. So I didn't care. Okay, I'm just like I'm talking right now. I'm just talking about whatever. So it didn't really matter to me, Vic, because I believed in what I was doing, and whether they were excited about it or not, I was excited about it. So it didn't really matter to me if there was 1 person or 100 people.
So it seems like you were emotionally detached from that. What's the good way to put it? Like, some people want to have that, like, okay, I want to have big numbers, man. I want to have like 100 people listening to me. If I don't get at least 100 or 50 people, I'm just not gonna do it. You did it anyways, and when you had 5 people showed up, so you were detached emotionally, right? Or did that bother you really when you just had 5 people showing up?
No, it didn't, because I looked at it as though, well, I'm just getting started with this, and nobody really knows who I am,
Right.
whether they can trust me or not. So I figured it was a process I had to go through, and I was willing to go through that.
Awesome, amazing stuff. You guys getting nuggets from this? There's a lot of nuggets to be. Yeah, nuggets. Very helpful. I see it in the comments. Miles is very engaging. Bruce is saying, okay. Okay, awesome. Miles believes. Period. When motivated, he just goes on. Miles can motivate a turtle to run 100 miles an hour, man. Okay, great stuff, brother. Okay, so let's take me through the next year. What are you doing in your business? What are you focusing on? What are your income producing activities at this time? 2014. Take me through 2014, if you would.
2014. Let's see. So I believe, sweetheart, we're still using that system. I think, I'm trying to think back, Vic. We're still using that system, but again, what I really focused on, because I learned from my mentor and mentors, is to continue building that list. And
yeah.
I guess I said to myself, listen, if it's not broke, don't fix it. And I can think back how I was able to kind of break through quickly, was being able to reach out to people, kind of put myself out there, whether it's talking to somebody on the phone or on Skype to get those high ticket sales. I just knew that was the way to be out there a little more. Plus, I knew I was also, it is what it is. I knew I was competing with other affiliates. So I started looking around, what are other people doing? Or what are they not doing? And I noticed that a lot of people, they weren't doing Google Hangouts, didn't know what they were, or they were afraid to make videos. I'm like, great. Let them be afraid to make videos. I'm going to continue doing that. And one thing about videos, Vic, on YouTube, I never really even started ranking those. But people were finding me. And I'll tell you something. I don't know if you're going to probably ask me this later, but sometimes we talk about superpowers. Like, what's our superpower? Like, what do you want to be good at? And I can tell you right now, I really plan on focusing more on YouTube. I think it's the future. Some form of YouTube. I really want that to be my thing. Paid and organic. YouTube PPC. So I really spent a lot of time doing that.
Awesome. So you're connecting, you're doing what the masses are not willing to do, connecting through videos, doing Google Hangouts, connecting with your list, and basically just running traffic to the system that you were using at that time. Pretty much it?
Exactly.
So what I want to know this, Miles. What are some of the mistakes? We're going to get to some of the big numbers. I want to know how you guys got there. Up to this point, what were your biggest mistakes that you have made? Give me like your top 3 biggest mistakes that you wish you avoided.
Yeah, it's funny, because one of the biggest ones deals with one of the most successful strategies that I used that really, gave us that boost from day one. And it deals with solo ads, and as I tell people to this day, it's not the strategy. Quote, solo ads still work well or still great, but it's the person behind it. It's the person's list. And I got involved with some, I didn't know at the time, I got involved with some shady people. And what's even worse, I got other people involved. I did something called a co-op, and a lot of people lost money, and they were mad at me. Some might be mad at me to this day. But what they don't know is we also lost a ton of money. So, that was a huge learning lesson for us, which I'll never do again. I would say number 2, which I started doing throughout the years. I remember I did a lot of it in 2014. I said, well, hey, if I'm doing good with this traffic strategy, well, let me start learning this one, and then let me start learning this one. But that's okay. But the problem was I never really mastered that other one. Then I moved on to this one, and I figured, I just thought more was better. Maybe I was getting a little too ahead of myself. Mm-hmm. So I started trying to learn too much at one time, and I never really mastered any of those. And, my list was actually starting, my business was starting to slow down because I was so much focused in study mode. But I wasn't really doing any income producing activities. I was too much in learning mode, and I wasn't taking action. And I noticed that, our sales were starting to slow down. I said, you know what? I got to get back to my roots. I got to focus on, just 1 or 2 strategies and just learn those really, really well. So
simplify, cut down on
cut out the fat.
Cut out the fat. I like that. Sonia, talk about. Okay, so we're gonna have. I'm sure we're gonna have a lot of people watching this, a lot of couples watching this, right? And they're like, okay, maybe the spouse is skeptical. Maybe it's, the wives. Talk to the wives out there watching this. Maybe their husbands are trying to make it, or maybe just from a lady's perspective. There's a book, Men from Mars and Women from Venus, or something like that. Like different mindsets, right? Different thinking patterns, different ways that we process things. Talk to the ladies. What's going through your mind? What are some of the lessons that you have got for yourself? What's some of the things that you could that you think would help other ladies or other spouses, maybe they're skeptical spouses in the business, from your side of things, from your perspective as you saw it?
Yeah, one of the things was that I did. I didn't understand the system, but he always talked to me about it, and he always explained it to me.
He talked their head off.
He just went on, because really in this industry, unfortunately, the only people that are close to you when you're home, not going to the events, is your spouse. So you got to be able to sit there. You want to be able to listen to them, to be able to support them in what it is that they need. Whenever they need to speak with somebody, you're there for them. So you want to be there for them and understand what they're going through. You know, when it shared the success, also shared the failure, shared the distraction, shared everything. The other thing was that I started attending. I would go to the events with him, and that's really my biggest eye opener because I didn't understand it.
You got to see what was going on.
I saw so many things, and I saw people that were actually struggling, and there were real people that had their stories in which I could identify with. I could understand what they were going through and everything. So I always like went to the events. I even told you one time, don't you be leaving me out of an event because I'm coming. I'm gonna be there. So that was me. I just enjoyed them. I like the environment. I like the positive attitude of the different people, their stories and their successes. So I kind of enjoy that. So that's what I've been doing. The other thing was mindset. You know,
huge.
That was huge. And
huge.
We had kind of dabbled in mindset, in which, you know, when The Secret came out, we bought the book, we saw the video, but you're thinking, okay, I read the book, it's done, I'm
set for life.
Yeah. So and you know, it's like read the book once, you think you're going to keep it in your mind, you know, these things, and you forget about it. But then all of a sudden, by going through, you know, the system that you have built and everything, it actually, you have some personal development stuff there, and I will constantly, I started listening to it. And constantly, you know, looking in YouTube, looking for different speakers and everything, and that helped me. That kind of put my mindset into more of a positive way, kind of thinking. So all those kind of things, by just starting to get involved in it, even though I didn't understand like the technology or how to do certain things. I mean, I didn't know what landing page was or how to do traffic, and I'm like, what is this and that? But from listening to him, also attending the events, and being there, being in the present and supporting what it was that he was doing, I was able to understand a lot of it. So that's why it just, and I of course seeing the results, because I started seeing the results. I mean, I remember, you know, we're like desperate in January, makes $15,000, and in May you had an event in Hawaii, and we're there. And who would think that within a 5-month period, I'm going to Hawaii, you know. So
I remember that one.
Yeah,
that was
who can forget that one, right?
Yeah,
that was fun.
And then, but those were the kind of things that made a difference for me. And you know, just support the person, because you know what, no matter what the person does, whether they're working at a job or they're doing this, they're going to need some sort of support in order to be able to make it. You need that positive reinforcement, and to be able to go to them, and that's your spouse. You know, what are the choices that you're going to make? Is it going to be a positive choice, or is it going to be a negative? And to me, it was like, I wanted what I had at the beginning when we first married. I wanted that fun part. I wanted that happiness. So therefore, in order for me to get that, my mind had to be correct. And I had to start learning myself, and I had to, you know, be there. And all that has made a big difference for me. And I'm just happy and enjoying it.
Put yourself in the environment to where you can see the bigger picture, right? So this is what I noticed about you guys, is that every single event, was there a single event that you guys didn't attend?
Nope.
This is like one thing that I noticed about you guys, whether we're in Hawaii, whether it's Miami, Florida, whether it's, you know, any if there's an event, you guys are there. I mean, if there's a webinar, you guys are there live. Not like watching it recorded. I'm pretty sure you're going to probably watch it recorded, rewatching it. But this is what I noticed about you. When I do like a Facebook Live, Miles is there. Okay, this is like consistently. You know, you guys watching this. Look, this is a huge clue for you. Show up, man. Showing up. 80% of your success, they say, is just or 50% of your success is showing up. I'm gonna say, you know, probably a lot more than that. 80% of your success is showing up. Okay, dude, talk about. What's going on here? I mean, Sonia mentioned a little bit about it. Why is going to the event so important for you from your perspective, Miles? And why do you keep showing up, man?
Yeah, listen, you need to be in the environment, especially in the beginning. Let's say you're fairly new. You're a little skeptical. Does this work? Well, it's one thing to get an email from somebody or even see a video, but to go there live, okay, and you're networking with other people, you're just talking to other people. And you're sitting, and this happened to us in the beginning. You know, we're sitting next to somebody. I remember who the guy was. I'm not going to mention his name, but you're sitting next to somebody that they just. We're sitting next to this guy. Okay, Gotta tell you this funny story. We're sitting next to this guy, my wife and I. He's sitting with his wife, and we're kind of like looking at each other, but neither one of us say hi. I don't know why. So they call him on stage, give him this huge check, and I'm like, sweetheart, that's that guy.
Yeah.
So after that, we became very good friends. I spent time at his house, and where would I have found an opportunity to be able to hang with somebody that's earned, six and seven figures, and not just him. There were other people walking around with these big checks. I'm like, people are actually making this type of money, and I'm looking at these people, and I'm like, look. I'm telling my wife, I said, sweetheart, they're no different from us. They're just regular people. Maybe they've been doing it longer than us, but if they can do that, we can do that. And another thing, Vic, which was important for us personally, some people tease us about this, but all the events, we were always in the front.
I noticed that too. Yeah, actually, when you're talking about the front, you're talking about first row.
Yeah, we were all. Listen, there's a couple of reasons why. Number one, wrapped in all of that, which I haven't talked about this when I want to talk about, I haven't mentioned it this much, but even from the beginning, Vic, we were working on our mindset, because I learned that from you. I didn't question. I said, listen, this guy is very successful. What he's saying must work. So whether I understood it or not, I'm going to listen to him. So I really started working on my mindset, working on myself from the beginning, even when I was tapping into other people's lists and all that. So I learned, from you and from reading a lot of books, which I still do now, I learned that my subconscious mind, Bob Proctor talks about this a lot, who I've studied under, it's in control. You just think your conscious mind your subconscious mind is in control. So I needed to discipline that, like doing exercise. I needed my subconscious mind to be disciplined. I needed it to believe in what I was doing. So for me, it was like a personal thing. It was almost like a game, like a challenge. I cannot miss anything. I need to be there, because if I don't miss anything, if I don't miss an event, I'm going to be rewarded. And I felt like if I miss something and then things don't go well, I can kind of think back, well, you shouldn't complain, Miles, because remember when you didn't show up there, or you missed that webinar or whatever. So it was like a game to me, a serious game, but like a game where don't miss anything. Plus, it makes you, for me personally, it makes me feel good. When I don't miss anything, that discipline is there. I'm training my subconscious mind to be disciplined, because your subconscious mind normally doesn't want to do what you want to do. Usually, for example, people that are, quote, broke, really, it wants to keep them broke. Yep. Your subconscious mind wants that comfort. It wants to go back to what you were. It doesn't want to let you expand and grow. And I know this to be true, so we have to work on it.
Yeah, so Bob Proctor talks about this, and he refers to it as a terror barrier, right? So you've got
exactly.
You've got all this conditioning, and just like, okay, you know this life right here, and you want this life, right? And you don't even know how your subconscious is keeping you bondage where you are. You don't even know. Like, consciously you want to break through, but subconsciously you can't. And your subconscious is, it's getting your heart to beat, 100,000, times per day, blood pumping, breathing without you thinking about it, blood pulsating through your ears and legs and feet and everything like that. So big things. We can be talking about this stuff for like a week here, straight up, but we got to move forward. So you guys, look, talk about what are you guys doing in business currently, and walk me through your big $120,000 deposit, dude. How did that happen, man? That's a long ways in just 3 years to be able to get to where you are. Let me ask you this before you do that. What is your total income earned? Do you even know that number since you began online and like current?
The funny thing was, I had a feeling you might ask me that, so I was gonna check earlier and try to add everything up, but I didn't get a chance to. But I will tell you off the top of my head, I believe we have crossed seven figures, and in total over 2.5 years. So we've crossed that $1 million mark between the other stuff we're kind of doing on the side. So.
Brother, most people working for somebody else, trading hours for dollars, which is nothing wrong with that if that's what you want, right? Somebody's got to do it. But it takes, for somebody to become, everybody will become a millionaire at some point in time in life, right? but
Yeah.
it takes some people 30, 40 years to earn $1 million, right? You guys are pushing that in just about 3 years, which is different than 30 or 40 years. Okay, what is and your business, you know, from just watching you guys online, I can tell your business is just like it's about to go to a whole other level. What are you doing right now? Walk me through that big deposit that you got. How did that happen? And just anything else anything else that you think would be beneficial for somebody watching this interview.
Yeah. I mentioned this, that, you know, up until that, when we made that deposit, before we made that huge $122,000 deposit, some people might find this hard to believe, but we really had not started running traffic yet. And here's another thing, which is I think could be a pretty huge golden nugget for anybody. People are probably thinking, well, he didn't run traffic, they didn't run traffic, but he has a big list. We do have a good sized list, but here's the thing, and don't ask me why. I'm not really sure why, but I really did not mail. I didn't mail my list. I mailed a small segment of my list, but I really didn't mail my overall list at that time. How did I do this? Well, the way we did this is doing the same things that we did back in 2013, planting a bunch of seeds. You know, you talked about planting seeds, Vic, which I'll be honest with you, Vic, when I heard that back then, I was like, yeah, I can plant these seeds, but it's going to take a long time. I want results now. But anyway, so I started planting the seeds, doing those Google Hangouts, shooting the videos, communicating with my list. And everything I did, I always started building a community, okay? And the way I built the community that I have now is through a Facebook group, not even a membership site. Membership site, in my opinion, is better, but I use the Facebook group. Like right now, we have a Facebook group for our team. It's very exclusive. We don't just let anybody in. You have to be actually, you know, a member of our team, coded to us. So how did we do that? We really reached out to people that were part of our community. It is what it is, but those seeds were planted. We reached out to people that were part of our community. We shared not just the product, but the vision with them. You know, the vision for, at the time, it was called the Internet Marketing College. It's called Techademics now. We shared that vision with them, and they got it. They resonated. But I think more than anything, you know, my team, if you're out there listening, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think more than anything, as great as Techademics is, as the products are, I think it has a lot to do with that you were joining me, okay? In other words, you know, who's the person or who are the people behind this product? Who's behind Techademics? You know, we have Vic Stryzus, you know, Chris Record, you know, myself. You know, who are the people behind this product? And Vic, I think that's what people really resonate with. And maybe it was almost kind of a test, because trust me, Vic, if the sales weren't coming, because we were trying to get that $100,000 bonus. Right. If the sales weren't coming, I was going to start driving some traffic and doing whatever I had to do. But I was too busy organically reaching out to people that were part of our world, that are part of our world, our community. They saw the vision, and boom, 23 or 28 sales later, we hit it.
You've hit $100,000 bonus, which you guys are watching these. Obviously, you know, if you're in the 4%, you probably know what he's talking about. If you're not in the 4% group and you're watching this, it's one of the companies that we have in our portfolio. You know, inside of the 4% group that we have built marketing system around, called Techademics, and that's the company that Miles is referring to. So, brother, you're hanging out with people. You continue to doing your live streams. You're talking to people. Do you talk about content? Do you mix, you know, motivation, inspiration? Do you talk about your life? Do you talk about what you have for breakfast every day? What do you talk to your people about?
Vic, I always talk about a mixture of both, because I always want people to know, you know, a little more about me. I mean, I talk about things that are important to me. Mindset is extremely important. I talk about that. I talk about, you know, some of the strategies I'm using, you know, why they work, why they don't work. I talk many times, I think a lot of people out there know, I talk a lot of times about salsa dancing, because it's something that I like to do. Yeah. And you know, not only that, that's our fun thing, okay? But I actually, my wife gets a little mad at me, but I treat it sort of like a business. Like if I'm doing it, I don't want to be just like I want to be good at it.
Yeah.
You know, I want to give my best. You know, and I'll tell you, it does feel good. You know, we're on the dance floor, and people come up to us and they're like, "Hey, you guys are really good," or somebody's actually filming us with their iPhone. I'm not gonna lie, it makes me feel good. You know, the same thing in this business. You want to be good at what you do. You want to be respected for what you do.
Love it, man. Love it. You got it's looking at some comments. You got mad love, man, from the audience here. I love hearing it. You know, how's it going, bro? You build your mindset. Let's see. Diamond Gem number 3 theory is saying plant your seeds. Do hangouts, live streams, communicate with your list, give value, content. People don't join deal, they join you for who you are and what you do and what you represent. Also, if you guys are members of the 4% group, what are you doing here, man? Why 4%? You could be doing anything in the world. You know, what attracted you to us? And talk about that a little bit.
You want to talk about this, Swear?
What it's actually the vision. That's one of the things, and that's pretty much the main thing. But also being in the right place at the right time, and I believe that right now the 4% and also tech academics is we're at the right. This is like the perfect time because of what you're building, of what is offering to newbies, to people who are experienced, and what it's going to produce to everybody else out there. I mean, it's just the opportunity. It's just really amazing. It's just what is.
And let me just add something to that, because like me, again, my personality, whenever I do something, I immerse myself into it. I get emotionally attached, and that's just me. And I also think that's what it takes. So having said that, Victor, the reason why I'm saying that is because I know what's out there. I'm a student of this business. I've gotten offers to join other companies. I've gotten those comps or whatever they say, like they would give me a free position, whatever. You know, I get hit up all the time. So I know what's out there, and I do talk to a lot of people on Skype and Facebook. I know what they're struggling with. I know all the stuff that they're in. You know, they're in multiple companies, new people, and they shouldn't be. So here along comes this 4% system. And let's just say that it wasn't even you, Vic, but you know, somebody created this type of system. I can see that this is what people need. This is what people need. The real step-by-step training that, again, Vic, I'll tell you, when I look at the 4% back office, which I look at every single day, multiple times a day, I'm looking at a platform where like the fat has been stripped. Just the essentials are there. And I say to myself, man, you know, if I had access to this system back in, you know, 2013 or 2012, whatever, you know, where would we be? I know we'd be multiple. I know for a fact, no doubt in my mind, we would be multiple 7-figure earners. Multiple 7-figure earners. So, again, you know, I joke with my wife a lot that we're still fairly new in this business. I have like all of my friends in this business. They know who they are. They've been doing this longer than us. Not that it's here or there, but we're still fairly new. So I'm not far removed from the newbie mindset.
Right.
You know, I can still remember. I haven't forgotten my roots. I'll never forget where I came from. I still remember my newbie mindset. So when I'm talking to a newer person, whatever, I know what they're thinking, number one, most cases. I know what they're going through. But the thing is, now that I'm here, I know what they need. They may not know what they need. I know, really, I do. I know what they need. And they need a system like what we have here. And you may talk about this, but I'll tell you, I'm like a kid in a candy store. I know there's a lot of people out there. I'm one of those. I'm waiting for this Operation 100K. I'm like a kid in a candy store, because the reason why I'm waiting for it, I know that what we're doing right now, that's going to 10x. That's going to 10x what we're doing, as well as everything, you know, in the 4%. So, man, how could you not be excited? I'm sorry, how could you not be excited?
Yeah.
You're working towards your $1 million matching bonus now.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we are.
That's the next milestone.
Yeah.
Love it. So Miles, here's what I would naturally be asking myself in hearing this interview if I'm a complete beginner, right? A lot of people take this side that would be like, okay, oh Miles, you got favored, man. You got favored, you got taken under somebody else's wing, maybe you got special attention. Did that happen?
Not at all. And I tell my team, I remind them every day, I said, okay, I've been following Vic for over 4 years now. He's my mentor. But Vic never came to me and said, Miles, here's, personal training or whatever. And they know I talked to you, but I pointed out something to them the other day. They probably didn't know. I said, you know what? Every time Vic and I have spoken on Skype or whatever, and Vic, you can testify to this. I've never asked you, hey, Vic, what strategy do you recommend or what? I never have. We just talk about stuff like life or how's the kids or whatever. So no, there was no favoritism at all.
It's going back to everything. What he did was constantly. I mean, there were times, 3-4 times, the whole entire day he would just go over the same video over and over and over again.
Repetition.
And I could hear it because again I wasn't that involved in it, but he was. Oh, that's all I would hear. I would hear the voice. It was your voice.
What it is, sweetheart. What it is that somebody taught me.
Yeah.
That repetition is the mother of all skill, and when I hear stuff like that from people that know more than me, that they're already where I want to go, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to listen to them. I mean, what have I got to lose? They're where I want to be. I'm going to listen to them. That's what I've done since the beginning. That's what I still do now. Will always do.
I think the first time we actually spoke to you was at the event, the first event we ever attended.
Yeah, I can remember when you came up to us.
Yeah, definitely, because it was like, it was January, and I think the first event was in April.
It was April, yeah.
And I don't think we had ever spoken, or Miles had never spoken to you. It was just, he just knew you through all the hangouts or the videos that you had out there.
I remember when I saw you, brother. I was like, sweetheart, there's Vic. He's coming this way. And listen, no, sir, Vic, come on, man. I'm just telling you. I mean, to me, it was like, you're just Vic to me now. But meeting with a celebrity, and I remember when we were talking. You came up to me. It was April, folks. It was April 2013. My very first network marketing event. Vic Strizers came up to me, and like Vic has those eyes. He looked me in the eyes, and he's like, Miles, you're going to be a $100,000 a month earner. And I had other people tell me things I was going to do. I didn't believe them. But something about the way you said it, that made, like, I hadn't done it at the time, but that made me believe I could do it. And now here we are, whatever, 3 years later, and we've done that. We've done that. And it's just, but the thing was that I really believed it, but again, brother, that's why I just keep giving you accolades, because you were like the only one that could get through my thick skull that I could do this.
Love it, bro. So one thing that I noticed about you guys is you took the approach just a little bit different than what the masses take. And so instead of like watching the video one time, for example, right? If it didn't make sense to you, instead of coming to your mentor, whoever you're learning from, and saying, hey, I didn't get it, tell me, or emailing support, you would watch the video multiple times. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I became very resourceful. Okay.
So do you do that still to this day, right? So you would go over the information if it didn't make sense to you first, which is a big nugget, you guys, big thing. This is what I see a lot of people who are, there are patterns for success, there are patterns for failure, right? We always talk about this. Successful people, they do things in a certain way that leads to success. And failures, they do, like people that fail typically, they are impatient. Okay, that's one pattern for failures. You're impatient. Like you would watch something that didn't make sense to you. You either get frustrated, or you're going straight up to like, oh my goodness, I gotta talk to somebody. I need somebody to walk me, take me by the hand and walk me through this thing. Not realizing that if you just watch that video maybe 3 times, you would get it, right? And you will get it. It's gonna come to you from in a way that will stick with you. and you will never forget it. So, Miles, that's exactly what sounds like what you guys, the approach that you're taking
Exactly.
in your business.
I still, to this day, I like being resourceful. I like figuring things out. Plus, we built a pretty sizable team, and we're very blessed because we have team members out there, incredible team members on the Born Rich Abundance team that they look up to us. They come to us, and it's just great to be able to work with. I love working with people. I absolutely love it. So
love working with people. Love that line, man. Love that line. You guys, I appreciate your time, Miles. Thank you very much. You guys dropped a lot of very, very useful ideas, very useful content that people can look. One idea is all you need, my friends. Okay, you're watching this. One idea is really all you need to break through, go to the next level, get that goal that you want, that whatever that life you're after. Miles mentioned, obviously, they're part of the 4% group. You're watching this. If you're in the 4% group, you are in the right place. I'm telling you. If you're not in the 4% group, okay, Miles, let me do this, man. What would you tell to people who are not in a 4% group, membership yet? Maybe they're looking at it. Maybe they're getting good content from these episodes, watching this, but maybe they're on the fence. Maybe they're like, okay, what is this all about? What would you tell that person?
I would tell them to stop thinking. Okay, sometimes as human beings we think too much, but we think about the wrong things. Listen, if your goal, okay, is to, like, you want to do this for a living, like we do. Like maybe you have a job right now and you want to replace that job, or maybe you just maybe you love your job. You want to do something part-time. Okay, listen, there are thousands of different programs out there, and me being a student of the business, I think I might have seen them all. I'm telling you, this is the place where you need to be. You are not, listen, you're not going to find the type of support and detailed instruction, from people and from a guy that's created, one of the most incredible systems I've ever seen. You're not going to find it. And in fact, I challenge you to look around and see if you see anything like what we're doing here. So if you're thinking about it, listen, just do it. Stop thinking, become a member of the 4% group. It can totally change your life. I mean, it totally changed our lives. Not only changed our lives, Vic, it saved our lives. And I don't like to talk about this too much, but this business, the system you built back then, this is 10 times more powerful. It saved our marriage. It saved our marriage. I would have never let her go anyway. I would have chased her.
No, man, you keep her, dude. You keep her.
There's no way, I would lose my baby. But I mean, it was very stressful back then, and it really. You tell me that it's you, Miles. It's not me, but I owe you a lot, brother. I mean, just being there from afar and being our mentor, and pointing us in the right direction. It just really changed our lives, and I'll be a member of the 4% group for the rest of my career, rest of my life.
You guys, congratulations! Great job you guys are doing. You're 4%ers, man. You lead by example, which is very important. Appreciate you. Glad to have you be a part of this team, and thank you for contributing to the vision. Appreciate you guys. Look, you, my friend, watching this right now, right? So we mentioned the 4% group, here and there. This show, first and foremost, is to deliver real value to you. Hopefully, you've got some of that value, right? And if you're not in the 4% group, if you're the type of person, right? If you like to be a part of something significant, right? If you like to be a part of, if you would like to contribute to a cause, and what's our cause? Inspire people to rise above mediocrity, man, above being average, above being mediocre, above being typical. Typical people, they're failing, they're running into brick wall after brick wall. We wanted to create a place for people to prosper, for people to blossom into something beautiful. To create real breakthroughs, transformations, transcend people to the level that they can truly make their difference. If you're the kind of person who likes that kind of stuff, if you want to belong to something that's bigger than any one of us individually, then I'd like to invite you to take a look at what we're doing here. Become a member of the 4% group. We will be more than happy to welcome you aboard. If you like to contribute, if you like to provide the lifestyle that your family truly deserves, you've got a real shot right here, right now, to make that happen. Okay? Look, thank you for your time. Hopefully you got some very good information, some very good value from today's episode. I look forward to seeing you inside. I look forward to seeing you on the next episode. Thanks for tuning in. You guys be awesome, be blessed. I'll see you later.